Of course, July the 1st is Mauricio Pochettino's official first day in charge at Stamford Bridge. And of course, he comes in with a much thinner squad than he did initially when he obviously signed the contract to join the club. We've seen a number of players leaving, be it to other Premier League clubs or Saudi Arabia as well. Of course, without a doubt, Chelsea's biggest success over recent years was the victory against Manchester City in the Champions League final. And it's interesting when you take a look at the starting 11 from the side that won that game by 1-0 how many changes there has been since then. I'm looking quickly, and what are we talking? Silva? Is that it? Yeah, pretty much.
Right.
That's pretty much
James,
it.
two,
How difficult is it for Mauricio Pochettino coming in? We always talk about the spine of a team, don't we? There is no spine to this Chelsea side that we know of at the moment. How difficult is it for him now to put this together?
You know,
Chilwell and James, I forgot about those.
I've been trying to be really thinking about this and trying to be really positive about it, because I think his initial first couple of weeks for him are going to be pretty easy, because he's going into a group that will lower than a snake's belly.
Okay.
And they won't need an awful lot of encouragement to get going. And so I expect the initial reaction to be a good one. You know, unfortunately though, as good as individuals as he has on his squad, you don't have a spine, so how do you build one unless you go and buy some players?
Right.
So he needs to go and start bringing more players in. And we've been talking about how they need to get rid because we've got too many.
Yeah.
And on the face of it, getting rid of those 9 we said is great. Now you've got a unit. But unfortunately, as it's, again, he needs to go and buy. He needs to go and get his spine. So I'm not sure that if you're a Chelsea fan, you should be too enthusiastic at the start of the season. Because this is.
And you were trying to be positive at the start of the sentence.
I was. I've been trying to think of all the good things that could happen under Pochettino. But as always, you come back to as good a coach as you've got, as good as ability you might have in the team, there are certain things you need in a football team to make it work and be successful.
Yeah.
And I don't think he has that at his disposal right now. So it's not going to be a quick turnaround for Chelsea. It's not.
I think one of the greatest positives coming in for Pochettino, coming into Chelsea, is how poor they've been, which is a strange thing to take as a positive.
Right.
But there is no real expectation right now about where Chelsea will finish next season. Financially, they have to finish in Champions League spots, but that's more financial concern. That's not one. That's not a footballing concern from a fan's perspective or expectation. And then I think Chelsea have addressed their major concern in Nicholas Jackson and Christopher Nkunku in goals.
I don't know, Shaq. Jackson is so raw. Like, we saw a lot of Villarreal last season.
But they have addressed their lack of goals in those two players, who I think will work together. That being said, everything else, given how big a dressing room Chelsea finished last season with, from now till the end of August, the end of the transfer window, who comes and goes, or who comes, is dependent on who goes.
Right.
They've trimmed extensively, as we just showed, 9 players on that graphic. They probably need to do quite a bit more. And then whoever comes in is as a result of who they're able to get out and at what price. And again, that's a weird thing. That's a weird problem to inherit as a coach of Chelsea, as a coach of Mauricio Pochettino's pedigree.
Where's this Nicholas Jackson love come from, Gab?
Well, I mean, look, Chelsea are under some pretty severe restrictions in terms of who they can sign, and this is why they've moved so many guys out. And I actually think we should give a little bit of credit to Lawrence Stewart and Winstanley for the job that they've done in getting these guys out. Some cases for some, I think, very good fees after the freak show that was, that were the previous 2 transfer windows. Shaka said, though, they need people in. And Nico Jackson at 30 million, you figure between him, between Armando Broja, who at some point I think has got to be fit, and Christopher Nkunku, you've got three guys who you can rotate in and out if you want to play front two. Nkunku on his own is something we haven't really seen, but Nkunku can play different positions. And so you saw that to some degree. For me, he's a very raw player. He's not a very prolific player. But at 22, you're getting a guy on the rise. It's in keeping with what Chelsea say they want to do. Younger players, long-term contracts, avoid the huge salaries. So he fits the project that way, whether he's good enough. But at Chelsea, there's been enough big busts from Raheem Sterling to Mudryk that if those guys just play up to their transfer fees or their salaries, Chelsea will be competing for top four regardless.
Jules, like Gab talks about this plan of youngsters and long-term contract, but it's a plan that hasn't borne any fruit so far.
No, but in a very difficult context with obviously the previous manager, Graham Potter. It was, I think, difficult for him with all those players, under the pressure, all the expectations, the new ownership, the money spent. All of that was I think, very difficult. So I don't want to write off last season. I think they need to take to get some lessons from what happened, the way they managed the club, everything really. And it's almost it's a new start with a new manager. But Poch is very good with youngsters. To go back to what Gab was saying on Nico Jackson, I think Poch would probably like having Nico Jackson and work with him and model him in what he wants him to do as a lone striker, for example, than someone like Romelu Lukaku. Then there's Nkunku coming with more pedigree, with more experience. And again, he will offer you different positions, different roles, which is something that Pochettino really, really likes. Right now, in midfield, though, they only have Enzo and Craig Burley. That's pretty much it. So they need to sign players in and to bring players in. We saw that they missed out on Ugarte, for example, who went to PSG, because there was a point where they could not go all the way to the 60 million release clause that he had. So financially, despite all the players leaving, and that was the big priority, they still will be restricted, like Gab said, on who they can buy and for how much they can buy. So that's something that we need to keep an eye on for who they're going to bring in midfield, especially, and I guess defensively too, but especially in midfield, because right now with all the departures, Kovacic, Conte, Loftus-Cheek, really Enzo is the last man standing, and that's not enough.